Welcome back to the pop culture discussion. I am your host Robert, and today I'm ranking all of the Harry Potter movies. I know it's been almost a year since I mentioned making this video, but I finally looped back around and jumped back onto the Hogwarts Express to finally rank all of the Harry Potter movies. After playing Hogwarts Legacy last year, it gave me a whole new appreciation and perspective for the wizarding world of Harry Potter. As before playing Hogwarts Legacy, I had seen the Harry Potter movies back in the day, but honestly, I wasn't really all that fazed or impressed by them. Now, my fiance is a massive Harry Potter fan, and after loving Hogwarts Legacy, I wanted more magical shenanigans to scratch that fantasy itch, so I suggested rewatching all of the Harry Potter movies together, and she was absolutely down to do so. Now, this will be my ranking of the Harry Potter films and not the Fantastic Beasts movies, as I have a completely different opinion on those. So if you were expecting me to rank and review any of those here, unfortunately this isn't the case, but it very well could be another video if this gets enough discussion. Now, after my rewatch of the Harry Potter films, I can honestly say all of the Harry Potter movies are great, and I really enjoyed all of them. More than I previously did. The issues I have with each film are actually more like nitpicks than anything else, as it's a very solid series full of fantastic entertainment value. In saying that though, I definitely enjoyed some films more than others. Anyways, let's begin the list. Oh, and just a warning, I'm absolutely going to be spoiling all of these movies, so sorry in advance if you haven't seen any of these over 10-year-old films. Starting off at 8th place, at a pretty unpopular opinion because I know a lot of people love this film, but this is my video, so do what I want. Harry Potter and the Philosopher Stone. I know, you OG fans of the original, hear me out before you click off this video. Look, I love all of the top tier fantasy world building and magical elements. They are all amazing and truly mesmerizing, setting up a fantastic foundation for everything else that is to come. Especially the fact that so much of this movie is brought to life with practical effects. I really appreciate and respect that. The soundtrack is absolutely killer and super iconic as well. Honestly, the main Hogwarts theme lives in my brain rent-free, and all the main teachers are fantastic fun to watch and perfectly cast, especially Dumbledore and Hagrid. They literally steal every single scene they are in. Unfortunately though, I did dislike a handful of stuff in this movie, and that's why it's in last place for me. First off, Harry's adopted family are the absolute worst, and they all deserve to die. I know we are really meant to hate them, but they are just uncomfortably cruel to Harry, and it makes all of their scenes so hard to watch. And the child acting, it's incredibly exaggerated and super cringy a lot of the time. I know this is everyone's first film in these roles, so they're still adjusting to the characters, but compared to how much the acting improves over the later films, it's just really rough here from the younger cast. The CGI as well, it's dated horribly. Honestly, it's laughable how bad the CGI in this movie is, and some people may defend it because of nostalgia, but honestly, come on guys, it looks like a PS2 cutscene. Oh my gosh. Especially when so much of this movie is practical. The CGI really stands out at how bad it is. And my final complaint is that the lame and forgettable villain makes the ending way too anticlimactic and way too easy for the heroes to win. I know it's a weakened Voldemort using a useless body as a host, but he gets wrecked by a child with a rock. It's honestly embarrassing. 6.5 out of 10. And in its 7th place, with a more popular opinion, because it seems that this one always ends up near the bottom of people's lists, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Look, I do really like that we're in full adult territory now with how dark the themes and the storytelling is. So, sorry kiddos, but if you're binging these, you might have to wait till you grow up a little bit for this one. Well, I mean, I guess it depends how strict your parents are, I guess. Either way, this is definitely not a kid's movie anymore. And everyone is finally respecting Harry Potter. Oh, I love this. Honestly, it only took 7 movies for everyone to finally love and respect Harry Potter and not accuse him him of stuff that he didn't do. So that's great to see everyone come together to protect him. And everyone has a magic gun now, and I love it. Honestly, everyone just seems to be shooting people with wands, and it's like they have a gun, and it's great to see the first half of this just go full action movie because of it. The scenic cinematography is just beautifully stunning in this movie as well. Sure, we've had some great cinematography in all of the other Harry Potter movies, but it really stands out in this one. And the snake scene, it is so scary. This is the main jump scare that really got me good in this series. Yes, there's a few others throughout the movies, but none of them made me jump as hard as this one. So, you know, well done in dialing up the creep factor for this sequence. Also, the Deathly Hallows origins is animated beautifully and is explained perfectly. It's not only one of the most memorable scenes in this film, but for the entire franchise for me. And this is the only Harry Potter that's not set at Hogwarts, so I gotta give respect for the movie for trying to do something different here. Unfortunately though, the bad things in this movie really stand out for me though, so that's why it's this low on my list. First of all, not showing Mad Moody's death was super annoying, especially considering how great he was as a character. And killing off Bill Nighy so quickly is such a waste because he is an incredible actor. But the main and biggest issue I have with this movie though is that it's very clearly one story split into two pieces, and the second half really suffers because of it. It goes nowhere. It's basically just the three main characters traveling around just getting more and more annoyed at each other, and it drags out the entire movie way too long because of it. Also, Harry's adopted family not getting brutally killed after abusing him for years is insanely unsatisfying because all of them deserve the absolute worst karma in this series. Yes, the final action scene is pretty fun in this movie, and it's super emotional, just like the first half of this film, but it took a whole hour of nothing to get there. 6.8 out of 10. And up at 6th place is probably another unpopular opinion, considering a lot of people think this is the worst one and should be in last place, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Honestly, the mysterious storytelling on who opened the Chamber of Secrets is a big step up for me from the first film, making the storytelling a lot more compelling. Kenneth Branagh is also so much fun to hate and is easily the funniest villain in the entire Harry Potter series. It's honestly such a shame that he's only in one of these movies. The introduction of Dobby is also great, even though he is super annoying. He absolutely means well, and he definitely grows on you throughout the films. And the flying car is hilarious. Who knew this car could have so much personality considering it's a car? The bad stuff though, the CGI is still really rough. This movie basically has the same issues as the first film, as the CGI is super obvious when it's being used, considering there are so many other practical effects in this film, and the child acting continues to be super cheesy. It's not quite as exaggerated and cringy as the first film, but nowhere near as fantastic as the third film. And they really pushed the PG rating with this movie, with the giant spiders and the giant snake. Honestly, how many small children got nightmares from this movie, especially if they watched it at the cinema? And last but not least, the pacing is so inconsistent in this movie. The first half is way slower than the second half. Honestly, the pacing is definitely an ongoing issue with a heap of the Harry Potter movies, but this one was the first one where I really noticed it. Perhaps because it is the longest movie in the franchise. 7.2 out of 10. And up next in 5th place is the Harry Potter movie that probably grew on me the most because it was my least favorite Harry Potter when I was a kid, but now it's almost kind of in the middle, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. The best part of this movie is that the CGI finally looks mostly fantastic, especially considering how much they had to use in this film. Seeing other magical schools in this world is also really cool, because I didn't know there were other magical schools out there except Hogwarts until this movie, and honestly that was a really pleasant surprise. Brendan Gleeson is also a fantastic addition to the teacher cast and so much fun to watch, especially considering that he is a villain pretending to be a hero in this one, so you can just see he is having so much fun being the bad guy. And obviously all of the challenges are super intense and really entertaining, especially the maze. That was some crazy enjoyable stuff. And Voldemort's creepy ass baby into man return was extremely well done. all of that build up for this guy's return was absolutely worth it. Unfortunately, on the bad side of things though, the Quidditch World Cup was not shown. Why? That would have been so good, and all we got was this big build up, and then the aftermath, they just skipped straight over it, and it was so disappointing. And everyone is an absolute scruff in this movie. Get everyone a haircut immediately. Why does everyone look so homeless? I actually hated Ron in this movie. He is so mean to Harry and so unlikable. I mean, come on, man. You have one job, to be Harry's best friend. Just do your thing and support your mate. It's so frustrating. And they started to get so repetitive with the dark arts teacher being the villain. Like, come on, guys. It's the oldest trick in the book by this stage, and it's so predictable. Now, every single time we have a Harry Potter movie and there's a new dark arts teacher, we're going to assume that they're the new villain for this movie. Voldemort himself might as well be the dark arts teacher for the next movie. That is how obvious it is. And my final complaint real quick is that the tone of the ending is all over the place. It honestly jumps from super sad to super happy way too quickly. 7.6 out of 10. And now we head into the territory of the Harry Potter movies that really entertained and impressed me as some of the better magical movies, with number 4 on my list, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. The world building outside of Hogwarts is super fun and extremely intriguing. Harry's descent into madness lets Daniel Radcliffe show off his acting chops to pull off the more serious sides of this character, and Gary Oldman's return is amazing and a very welcome surprise, considering he is honestly the best character in this franchise in my opinion. The last 20 minutes of this movie is some of the best action we have ever seen so far up until this point in the Harry Potter movies, with 3 amazing back-to-back action sequences. Honestly, the ending of this movie hits so hard when it comes to the action and the magical attacks on display. It's super intense and crazy impressive. But obviously, the bad stuff though, Imelda Staunton is just the absolute worst, and I hate her more than any other villain in the series. It's honestly such a shame she isn't killed off in the most horrific way, because that's what she deserved. And speaking of her, oh no, the dark arts teacher is the villain? What a surprise! Also, this entire movie is just pure build-up for the final act. Yes, it absolutely pays off, but oh boy, does the rest of the movie play it a bit safe and generic until the final fights at the very end. Which, again, like some other Harry Potter movies, completely messes with the pacing, going from 0 to 100 in that final act. The CGI also is really inconsistent in this movie. It goes from incredible to terrible throughout the entire movie. I don't know if they ran out of budget or if they ran out of time, but someone was lacking in the editing team and not keeping up to scratch with everyone else. And my final and biggest problem with this movie is Gary Oldman being killed off way too quickly and easily. His death is honestly so quick, and he is like the best character, so he deserved way better than that, and it just felt cheap to me. 8.3 out of 10. And up at 3rd place was my favorite Harry Potter movie as a kid, because I just wasn't ready for that twist at the end, and as a child it just blew my little mind. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This is easily the best mix of storytelling tones in the franchise, with some great charismatic comedy and intensely serious scenes, crafting easily the most compelling story of the series so far, with a mysterious screenplay full of twists and conflicting character origins. And speaking of twists, the twist on who the Half-Blood Prince is easily one of the best, with an incredible reveal from Alan Rickman.
Surprise, motherfucker!
The introduction of the Horcruxes is also a fantastic reveal, with some epic world building for this entire franchise. And we get our first Quidditch match CGI that is finally super decent. Up until this point, Quidditch CGI has either been awful or average at best, but it's really good in this one.
Nice.
Draco's mysterious and dark assignment is super compelling. This is the first movie I have actually cared about this character, and it has an absolute killer final sequence with the death of Dumbledore hitting so hard in like the worst possible way.
Emotional damage!
Jim Broadbent is also hilariously cooked and super entertaining in a ridiculous way as a fun little highlight in this movie. But my favorite part in this movie for me is that Harry finally wrecks Draco. In your face, Draco, after all these years being the biggest pain in the ass to Harry, Harry finally drops him with a lethal spell, and honestly, it's one of the most satisfying scenes in all of Harry Potter. Although Draco doesn't die, this scene is still amazing. And the sparks of Harry and Ginny's and Ron and Hermione's relationships are finally seen with some great chemistry between those actors. I honestly really struggled to dislike this movie, but I'd definitely be lying if I didn't say this is easily the slowest Harry Potter movie, so the pacing compared to the others definitely takes a hit, and the strange dark grey colouring over the whole movie just kind of comes out of nowhere for this one. Like, none of the other movies are coloured like this, and it's kind of weird. 9.2 out of 10. Coming in at second place, although it's a lot of people's favourite, it just misses out for me, but I do understand why it is loved so much. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Now this is some top quality and impressive CGI. Honestly, it holds up so good even in today's standards. The pacing is crazy fast in the best possible way. This movie does not let up the entire way from start till finish, and it definitely doesn't feel over 2 hours long. The violence is bloody, brutal, and super badass, with some super satisfying characters taken out in the most epically awesome ways. And it is super inspiring to see the entire school of Hogwarts get behind Harry for one final showdown against Voldemort and his evil army. The big battle of Hogwarts is absolutely epic and the best action in the entire Harry Potter series. We've been building towards this battle since the beginning of the franchise, and it 100% delivers. And Snape's origins is a fantastic twist, making his death way sadder than expected. The Harry versus Voldemort fight is fantastic, with impressive CGI, perfect performances, and some really hard-hitting sound design. And the time jump right at the end is really cute and super satisfying to see where everyone ended up. Honestly, the ending of this movie is so wholesome, and that's why I understand why a lot of people pick this as their favorite Harry Potter. But the main little nitpicks that I have with this one is only showing Snape's death and none of the other characters that happened at the same time is just really annoying and really underwhelming for me. Honestly, we got some incredible characters that died in this final battle, and we only got to see their dead bodies and not the ways that they were taken out. Just add an extra 30 minutes and we could have shown all of them. And Harry destroying the Elder Wand at the end, it was just felt silly, and it just felt like shock value to me. I mean, come on, that's like the strongest wand in the world and you're just gonna destroy it? That's a silly move, Potter. 9.5 out of 10. And the greatest and most entertaining and perfectly crafted Harry Potter movie of all time, and coming in at number 1 for me, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. My God, the jump in quality from this movie after the first 2 movies is just unmeasurable. It honestly feels like a completely improved franchise in the best possible way. The faster pacing is an extremely welcome addition, especially considering this is one of the very few Harry Potter movies to actually perfect the pacing throughout the entire film. The immersive cinematography also adds so much substance and style to every single sequence, and Gary Oldman and David Thewlis are fantastic new additions to the cast as well in the Wizarding world. Honestly, these two are clearly having an absolute blast, and it makes you love them even more. And the creative storytelling with the time travel act and the twist at the end crafts not only the best screenplay in the Harry Potter series, but one of the best in fantasy films. And the more mature tone here eases us into what is to come for the darker side of the storytelling of the future films. And my final favorite thing about this movie is that this is the only Harry Potter movie where Voldemort isn't the bad guy, and I have some massive respect for the originality of that. The only nitpicks I have with this one is that Emma Thompson, look, she looks great, but she's super annoying, and she just felt like an unnecessary add to the cast, and some of the acting is still a little bit cheesy and can clash with the tone considering how serious things get in this one. 9.7 out of 10. So, there we have it, the ranking of the Harry Potter movies. I know so many of you are not going to agree with me on this, so absolutely chuck your ranking down below, or just mention the Harry Potter you think I was the most off with, and let's talk about that one. I'd love to discuss Harry Potter with you guys. I'm not the biggest nerd when it comes to this franchise. There's a lot of stuff I don't know, so some of the complaints that I had might have been because they were in the books. I didn't know that, haven't read the books, so yeah, let me know down below if that is the case. I am actually really excited for the Harry Potter TV series that is currently being worked on, as I feel like a lot of the pacing in the films was pretty scattered and had a few issues, so we have a lot more time to expand and explain the storytelling in the TV show, which could absolutely fix that. And having the technology of today available to enhance all of the CGI sequences should make certain magical and action scenes way more enjoyable too. I'm really glad I went back and re-experienced all of the Harry Potter movies because I really enjoyed them a whole lot more this time round. As many faults as I gave these movies, they are still a wonderfully entertaining time. Thank you to everyone who made it this far into the video, and if you like lists, rankings, or reviews, absolutely feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video.